Oh baby, oh baby. I am who I am. My name is my name. Hunter Sands. Welcome into the channel. Today, I am giving you 6 players that you should not be fully panicking on. We don't panic in the first 3 weeks, but you should be pretty concerned about. I'm going to give you some stats that are pretty alarming to me. And yeah, man, you make your decision. And if a guy in your league is desperate and you can buy these guys low if you have belief in them, go snatch them up from that guy. All right? Y'all enjoy the video. This first dude I'm talking about, I'm not going to lie, guys. He's concerning me. I own him in a standard league, and he is RB 34. He is running back 34, and I got him at number 3 because he was my keeper. Austin Ekeler, man. And in half-point PPR, he is 20, and I'm imagining in full-point PPR, he is higher than that. Okay? It's probably around 15. But even with that, he hasn't touched the end zone. And points per week, when I say points per week, it's half-point PPR, good middle ground. He's in the same realm as Miles Sanders, Breece Hall, Kareem Hunt, and Tony Pollard. And they all have the same thing in common. Low snap rates, shared backfields. And the only thing that is disappointing with the Chargers sharing the backfield is that it makes no fucking sense. Joshua Kelly has been horseshit. He has been a horrible NFL player since he's come into the league. Horrible. I'm about to get into my fantasy trauma, bro. I own Sonny Michel that Patriots year where he was top 10 in carries and finished like RB 40. Like these guys just, they're giving it to people that average 2 yards, 3 yards a carry for their careers. And they have one of the best weapons out of the backfield in the entire football league. This makes zero sense to me. But there are just some alarming little stats. Like, the snap rate isn't even the most alarming stats. When you start getting into the red zone, Austin Ekeler had the most touchdowns of any fantasy running back in the red zone. Just in the red zone. He had the most catches. I think he had the most carries. Or JT probably had more carries. But he was just more efficient than everybody. This year in the red zone, he has 4 touches for 4 yards. Would you like me to repeat it? Austin Ekeler inside the 20-yard line has 4 catches for 4 yards. And then, hey, how about we shrink it a little? Inside the 10-yard line, how many carries does he have? Goose. Fucking goose. Goose egg. And you just have to keep starting his ass because you got him in the top 5 of your draft. You just got to keep throwing him in there and going, please God, fall in the end zone. And to be honest, guys, this is why we don't panic in fantasy. We don't panic. I'm screaming. Because go look at the top 10 running backs. It's Cordero Patterson, Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley. There's some others in there that make zero sense. And then guys like Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey are outside the top 10. DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams are 6 and 7 in their teammates. DeAndre Swift has 27 carries on the year. I'm not talking about his receptions, just as a premier running back. He's averaging like 13 carries a game, and I know he got hurt last game. And he's number 6. And he's getting vultured by his teammate in Jamal Williams. So I'm not saying trade him, but if you get an opportunity to trade Austin Ekeler, mostly with the injuries to Rashawn Slater, to Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen may be in and out with a hammy. And that even makes it worse, right? Like, why are you relying on an injured franchise quarterback with a serious rib injury and your number 1 wide receiver, and you're not giving the ball to Austin Ekeler? And don't ever get it twisted. He's never been a high-volume carry guy. The catching is what makes him a fantasy god, right? It was always the reception upside. I believe last year he may have had 2 games with more than 15 rushes, 15 attempts. And the rest of them are 12, 13, whatever it was. But this year it just ain't working out, man. It is just not working out. So with Austin Ekeler, man, I am in full panic mode with him. No bullshit. With this next guy, I hated him to start the year. I'm not a big fan of just their team in general. They have some weapons. They don't have a good quarterback, terrible O-line. Najee Harris, okay? I was really down on him to start the year out because the targets weren't going to be there. And you can see that here. He has 11 targets through 3 weeks. Last year, he had 27 targets through 3 weeks. Through the first 3 weeks of his rookie season, he had 27 targets. And in this year, he has 11. The O-line is horrible. The O-line is really bad. And that's a reason, not to go off on a separate tangent, that's a reason Zeke and Pollard didn't make this list. Because I think the Cowboys have found not even a new identity. It's what worked for them for 4 years before they started putting all this weight on Dak. You know what I mean? That's why they're not on here. They have the best rushing attack in the league, O-line wise, per every metric. Okay? And in this case with Najee, he has the 30th best O-line, a.k.a. one of the worst, if not the worst. So, God damn, my nose is itching. I do not do cocaine. Maybe. And last year, through the first 3 weeks, he has 6 red zone targets. This year, he has 1. When you got Najee, you thought it was a high-volume play, but hopefully you knew, because last year he averaged 3 yards a carry, that there was no way he was getting 1,700 yards again. We had to have known that collectively, right? That's why I was so off of him. I just didn't see it. But if I'm an owner of his, I don't even know what you could get for him, to be honest. Because the aesthetic of that offense, I'm about to go crazy itching my nose. The aesthetic of that offense is very terrible. You can't even, like, with the Chargers and Austin Ekeler, you can go, well, you know, Herbert's kind of hurt. Keenan's out. Their offense isn't fully together, but it's Austin Ekeler, and they have a high-powered offense. With Pittsburgh, you're going, they got Mitch Trubisky or Kenny Pickett. The weapons on the outside are great, but it seems like Najee isn't involved in this game plan. I just don't see what you could get for him at all. And maybe we see a difference later on in the season, but this is just same old with Najee. He's just not getting the targets. He had over 10 games in both of these categories where he had 10-plus games where he didn't have 30 receiving yards and 10-plus games where he didn't have 70 rushing yards. He just happened to fall in the end zone or get you 7 receptions in your PPR league, and you were cool with it. So I never saw it with him, but maybe he improves. He's a very talented player, by the way. I'm not shitting on any of these guys' talent. This isn't no Eddie Lacy eating donuts and shit. This is just what happens when you have no O-line and no quarterback talent. This guy, I have a share of too. The next guy, Austin Ekeler's teammate, Mike Williams. So when you go into the season, this was my whole thing about picking Mike Williams, not even early, just getting him in that 3rd round. His ADP is wide receiver 15. It's a wide receiver 2 with upside. That's what you want. He's now wide receiver 35. And everything that could have went right for him in a fantasy perspective, I'll never wish for injury. Keenan Allen went out. You have a coordinator and a head coach that want to throw the ball 40 times a game. What the fuck is going on down there? What is happening? Last week, they're down 3 possessions to the Jacksonville Jags, and he ends with a catch. 1 measly catch that ended up being a touchdown. But why is Mike Williams 3rd on his team in target share percentage at 16%? Why is he behind Josh Palmer? This makes 0 sense. And mostly, the only reason he's even close to a flex is because of the 1 week he had against the Chiefs. Remember, Keenan Allen got hurt early in the first quarter, first half of that Raiders game in the first week. Mike Williams wasn't on the field. He was, but that was a ghost. I don't know what the fuck is going on with these people. So I always try to give a similarity in fantasy points per game if I'm talking about somebody. Think about this in the preseason if I would have told you this. He's in the realm like 0.5 points away from Isaiah McKenzie, Tyler Lockett, Corey Davis, Zay Jones, and Jacoby Myers. It's not looking good in Los Angeles. And it's only going to get worse. I don't know what they do. I really don't. From a fantasy perspective and just a football team perspective, which is a much deeper issue that they have with losing Joey Bosa on that side of the football as well. So I guess we'll have to see. All right? And his red zone targets are so down. Oh my God, it's bad. Anyways, next player. He went at RB10 in these drafts, and this is a team that throws the ball. They're top 10 in pass attempts. And this is a pass-catching running back. It is Alvin Kamara. Yes, don't call me dumb. I know he got hurt. In the games that he's played, he's averaging 7 points a game. And that's in full-point PPR. He has been useless. He's RB 50 in points per game. Not just because of his injury. He's been terrible. And this is a team that doesn't run a lot, but this isn't their bottom 5 in rushing attempts in New Orleans. But he is game script averse. That's what he is. He is great. Can I? Hello? Am I hammered? Game script averse. When they're down in games, you get happy for Alvin Kamara. You're like, he's going to catch a lot of balls and get some bullshit. No. He hasn't at all. He hasn't done anything, and this is the reason. They believe in their receivers. And bro, I'm a Buccaneers fan. I saw Jameis not throw a check down. And if he did, he threw it to a linebacker. I saw him do that for fucking 5 years, dude. Jameis don't believe in check downs, bro. He plays Madden on the field. Alright, if we don't score, we do not punt. That is his thing. That's what he fucking does. Chris Olave, 26% target share. Mike T, 19.8, so 20% target share. Jarvis Landry, 17% target share. You're looking at 63% of the passes going to the wideouts. And they're just not getting this guy the ball. They're just not getting him the ball. And it's very concerning because he's obviously, to me, their best playmaker, even though Olave is coming along as a pretty damn good pro. And I'm not going off fantasy numbers. I'm talking about like real football. So another guy that was taken in the first round who was RB16, well, that's like second or third, but a lot of people were overdrafting him, and it's James Conner, another guy that I hate. I hated him. I said, and it's just a fact, what he did last year with 15 touchdowns with less than 200 carries is more impressive than beating fucking cancer. Okay? That's just a fact. If you had James Conner last year, you struck gold. 15 touchdowns? This year, through 3 games, he's got one. And yes, I know his ankle was beat up in that game. But even still, while healthy, 1.7 yards before contact. And he's not breaking tackles. He's averaging 3 yards a carry. Last year, he was busting out 50-yard touchdowns every game. I will say, though, there are 2 things where this is why I'm not like, if you have him, don't panic too hard. But still have a little urgency with him. He's 11th in RB targets, and when he's healthy, his snap share is 66%. He is their workhorse. So even if he's inefficient the whole year, and their offense looks terrible without DeAndre Hopkins, which I think can open some things up for them. That's another thing to look forward to with Hollywood Brown and DeAndre Hopkins on the other side of him. That's a scary little duo. You know what I mean? So that's 2 good things you have to look forward to. But for now, James Conner has been putrid. He is RB31. He looks horrific. The next guy, you either loved him or hated him. And I happen to love him because I said don't get attached to fantasy players, and I got attached to this motherfucker. Allen Robinson, wide receiver 65. And now some of y'all out there are like, well, yeah, you don't take him. Look what he did last year. Dude, before that, he was QB proof. He played with Blake Bortles and fucking Mitch Trubisky and all these shitty quarterbacks, and it didn't matter. He was 100 catches, like 950 plus yards, 9 to 10 touchdowns, and that was that. This guy is horrible. Like, if you really look at these stats, like 12% target share, 93rd in the fucking league. He has 12 targets total. You know what's crazy? His route running rate is 13th in the league. He runs more routes. He's top 15 in running routes on the play. Yet he's 93rd in target share. It makes no sense. He has 7 catches all year. 6 of his 12 targets are in the red zone. And you can go, well, that's a good sign. But to me, I was expecting a little more in between the 20s work. I truly was. I really wanted that. And I did not expect this guy to be 4th in targets, total targets, on the Rams. I thought there was no way. And we can talk about chemistry with the quarterback, and I know that takes time. But honestly, with Allen Robinson, I mean, I'm going to stash him on my bench because, I mean, at this point, you kind of have to, unless you have an emergency injury. You might as well just stash him on your bench and, you know, pray they get some chemistry going. But for now, he's wide receiver 65, and it looks like there is nothing you can do about it. There's just nothing there to even, like, get hope. The red zone targets, maybe. But for people in PPR, if he's out there getting 4 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown, yeah, you got 15, but without that touchdown, you're not going to get a touchdown every week. What are you doing? You're getting 9 points, 8 points. In PPR leagues, to me, he is completely droppable. If you don't believe in if there's like a Khalil Herbert out there in your league somehow. In my 12-man, we kind of have we've been playing fantasy for about a decade in the same group. And Khalil Herbert gets drafted during the draft. Everybody's handcuff is gone. Alexander Madison gets drafted. We don't get those guys the chance, right? So, but yeah, man, if you have Allen Robinson, don't feel bad about dropping him if you start spazzing 10 weeks later. That's how fantasy works. It sometimes works like that. And that's the big thing about this is these are guys that you can buy low if you think they're going to turn up in the season. If you think they're going to be better than what they are right now, you can buy low from a desperate guy that's 0-3 and like bottom 2 in points, bottom 4 in points, that needs something, that feels like he has to get something going right now, and buy low on their ass. And then the last position, dude, what the fuck is up with tight end this year? There are 2 tight ends averaging more than 10 points a game. Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, we all know that, but like, why the fuck is Tyler Conklin number 3? This is the wildest year for tight ends I have ever seen. Honorable mentions on the list: Dalvin Cook, Zeke Elliott was on there, but then that performance on Monday Night Football from the O-line and the play calling. Not like, oh my God, Zeke looks like an elite running back. That's what I thought Zeke was going to do every week. I thought Zeke was going to get me 60 yards or 80 yards and fall in the end zone. That's all I thought. I thought he was going to be their goal line back. They're the number 1 offense in almost every category last year. And shit happens. Okay? Dalvin Cook is on the list, but the only reason I'm not concerned, if you don't know this, they spoke on this before. With how many times he's injured his shoulder, it's inevitable that he has done it. That's, if you go read the beat reporters, they said Dalvin Cook is so used to this shit, it just feels like I have bad knees, my ACLs pop out. It just feels like it's just doing its thing. He's like, it doesn't even hurt that bad. I'm used to it now. But the reason I'm not concerned about him, I know he's underperforming. Last year we saw a glimpse. Or last week we saw a glimpse before he got hurt. We saw it. 13 points, had a fumble. The week before, didn't play great. And then against I think he had 13 points, something like that. It's not bad. He just didn't have a touchdown. So with a touchdown, he gets 20. I'm thinking about week 1. Dude, the Packers didn't cover Justin Jefferson, man. He went off for a 40 ball. Like, no, I'm not giving the ball to Dalvin either, and Dalvin still had a good game. So don't give up on Dalvin Cook just yet. He's gonna be good for you. Like every year, he's gonna miss a couple games, but he's gonna end RB top 5 in points per game. So that is the end of the video. I love you all. I'll be dropping a full podcast on Friday. And yeah, man. Y'all like, subscribe, love it. I'm going to keep dropping the content, man. I'm going to keep dropping the content. So I love you guys. Thank you for listening. And the pod goat is out, bruh. Dose.